Is it okay for married couples to have single friends?
And if they do have them, like what's the extent of that relationship?
Yeah.
Now to dive into this further, let me go into this. Obviously, we know single people. We get along with
Right.
single people.
Yeah.
There's
There's nothing wrong with single people.
Yeah, we mentor single people, so on and so forth, all the rest of that. So it's not like married couples have to avoid single people at all costs.
Right.
But wisdom says that there's a huge difference between what a husband and wife need in their relationship and what singles are basically looking for and what they need with the relationships around them.
Right.
And so if a person is, let's say for instance, first and foremost married and they're mentoring someone who's single, I think that that's a great partnership, but the wisdom for that relationship is you never mentor that person alone. So if you're mentoring a person of the opposite sex, you never mentor them alone.
Right.
And
So-
and when I say never, I mean never. Like never, ever, never. You understand what I'm saying, brother?
So you make all your appointments in public, go to Starbucks, go
Yeah.
to McDonald's, or what's wrong with having your spouse maybe kind of hang out in some of those discussions?
Man, your spouse, your secretary, someone else. But you always need the accountability of saying, hey, if I'm meeting with someone that is of the opposite sex, I absolutely 100%, no doubt about it, need to have someone else there accountable with me. They don't come in your hotel room without your spouse. They don't come in your office without your spouse. There are a lot of instances, especially in this society, where nowadays
Yeah.
you get, and there's legitimate reasons for accusations, sexual harassment, so on and so forth. Cover yourself and cover your marriage by making sure that you're not allowing yourself to be put in a position of
Yeah.
compromise or where there's so much temptation and you fall into something that you ain't had no business being in.
I was going to say, don't give place to the enemy.
Yeah, it is just why put yourself in a situation where you're going to be tempted to do something
Right.
or go somewhere or say something that you're later on going to regret. So be wise and make sure that if you're mentoring, discipling, leading,
Yeah.
or what have you, that you do that with your spouse either present or someone else present at all times in the room, in the car, at the hotel, at the conference, at the church, at the picnic, at the dinner, at the bar mitzvah, wherever you are. This is for real, man. Cover yourself. Now, specifically speaking to married couples, when it comes to singles, I'm going to just be honest with you. I'm going to be very blunt. If you got a best friend that's of the opposite sex, right, that's going to cause some friction within
Yeah.
most relationships, right? Let me give you a hypothetical. Let's say, for instance, me and my wife, we're having tension in our relationship. So we ain't laughing right now. We're going through a stressful time and it's difficult. And then all of a sudden I call up my BFF who happens to be another woman. And we all laughing and joking on the phone. We having a good time. And I'm confiding in that person. And I'm looking for wisdom or advice, or I'm venting to that person. Like, come on, dude. You know that that's like opportunity
Right.
for either deception or for her to feel less than and not a part because I'm opening up to another female in a way that I refuse to do with my own wife.
Right.
Like, that's just dangerous ground. That's where the enemy can come in and whisper things to her and cause insecurity there or inferiority. Or that's where the enemy can come in with me and say, well, if your wife was more like so on and so forth, then your relationship would be better. Like, why even give room for that?
And that's why we always suggest that if you're a married couple, you should also have a marriage mentor, a couple
Yeah.
that you can go to, that he can go to the husband and that you can go to the wife, and they can build you up together or individually, but they're also on one accord
Yes.
as far as where you want to go within your marriage.
Yeah, so if you need marriage advice, don't go to your single friends looking
Right.
for marriage advice.
And sometimes you don't even want to tell your single friends the conflict that
Yeah,
may be
man.
going on within your marriage.
What goes on in your house, come on, what goes on in Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays
Stays
in
in
Vegas.
Vegas.
What happens in your marriage ought to stay within your bedroom or within your counselor's office.
Yeah.
And aside from that, your pastor's office or something like that, or some really good solid friends that'll help sharpen you. But really, you want to make sure that your covenant is covered. And the way that you cover it is by not allowing division or dissension of any kind. You don't even want the idea of somebody else coming in between you and your spouse. So I don't care how long you've been good friends with them. I'm going to just be real with you. If your spouse has voiced concern or frustration with the fact that you got a bunch of female friends or the fact that you got a bunch of male friends and you're a female, then cut it off.
Yeah.
Like, your spouse is your number one priority, not them old relationships. Like, I got some good friends from high school and all the rest of that stuff. None of those people should be more important to me than my wife. And so if somebody all of a sudden is hitting me up on Facebook or they connecting with me on Insta and they want to reminisce.
I just flashed that ring.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And you know, but what difference does that make? And what difference does all the pictures of our family make if I'm sitting here DMing people about the good old days and I'm talking to them about stuff that don't matter? Like, why? You don't need it. Like, you should find fulfillment in your current relationship. This woman is woman enough to give me enough womanness for all the rest of the kingdom come. So I don't need extra female friend women to help me feel secure or satisfied or manly. Am I saying it enough?
Yeah, we got it.
And in that same sense, if you're a female, you know, I've heard ladies say, man, I just don't get along with other females. That's a personal problem.
Yes, it is.
We need to get healed of that. Like, God created people to be able to get along with people, to connect with people. So even though all your life you've always had male friends, I'm going to promise you this.
There's somebody you can talk to. There's someone that you can confide in. You know, even if you find someone that you look up to like a mother, go to that person.
Yeah.
They have the best advice. And listen, they'll give you wisdom that they've already been through. And if you can just listen to them, you can bypass a lot of junk.
Man, seriously. So, in conclusion, if you're married, find married friends to sharpen you. Healthy married couples are out there. Go find some. If you're married, don't counsel a person of the opposite sex while you're by yourself. Make sure you cover your marriage by making sure that you have someone there who's with you, present, the door's open, to where you can always, you know, make sure that people know that somebody's in there with you, and that's how you cover yourself from a lot of hurt, harm, and danger. And then lastly, if you got really, really, really good friends and you just like, they're all single and that's all I got, then you got to grow. You have to mature to this next level to where you say, you know what, single people, I want you to hang out with some single folk. If we do hang out together, it's as a family.
Yes.
And we're all kicking it together in a public place or something like that. But these kind of private, you know, direct messages and emails being sent and following people that's a bunch of single folk and all the rest of that stuff, these are all traps, and you're giving place for the enemy to come in your marriage and cause a lot of division and dissension. So do the mature thing and grow up.